Hey YouTube, Meef Magnet here. Welcome to episode 14 of our Feed the Beast Continuum Quick Tips and Tricks. What we got going on this time, a few more machines that are kind of taken care of in relatively short order here. And the first thing I want to really go over here is the drill and the Energizer. Now, I didn't think this drill was actually, I don't want to say not worth it, but I think I've changed my mind. So the drill, it works pretty much just like a pickaxe, but it's upgradable. And I didn't know if these upgrades were readily available, but I did find one that actually made it worth it. So let's take a look here and see. So this part of this tier system, like this recharging and pierce the heavens, these kind of go hand in hand. The reason that I kind of went through these, I mean, I wanted to do them all at first, but really, I really wanted to see if the drill had any potential, you know, in comparison to say like a hammer or, you know, pickaxe combination there, and it does. So this isn't really all that difficult to make. Let's take a look here. Really the hardest thing to make in this is probably, I mean, the drill core is not even that hard. I mean, it's just gonna take some iron to do and then some black quartz, but really the drill itself is not difficult to make. The Energizer is what's most expensive here. So this is just steel plate and then the kinetic dynamo. And then you're looking at some diamantine electron tubes, and then some other kind of obscure shit here. But it seems to be worth it in my mind. And part of this reward here is this double battery. So this is carrying 350,000 crystal flux in it. And if you shift right click it while it's in your inventory, it'll keep your drill charged. So you're looking at 500,000 RF. We could test this out quick. I'll leave that battery in there so I can finish up taking care of its charge. Let's run down here. We can kind of demo this a little bit. This looks good. I'll just run a line out here. So in order to do the upgrades on here, all you got to do is shift right click this and it brings up this UI. So I've already got this drill mining augment 1. Let's check this bad boy out. It's not really cheap. It's not too bad, but it's not really cheap. So it requires 4 aluminum, 4 of these empowered emeradic crystals, and then an advanced coil. So it's not that expensive, but it is still kind of expensive. So keep that in mind. These just go in and out of here, but that's it. That's really how that functions. So this works just like a regular pickaxe. So if I start going, here it's taking out a 3x3, which that's exactly what I wanted here. And it takes out everything. And I'm just going to keep going here for a second. Let's get some torches going so I don't have to... So I figured this newer version of this function like the hammer would. It doesn't go through dirt or anything like that, but it actually does. And I was actually really surprised that that was the case. It goes through gravel, pretty much all of this stuff. It just doesn't give a shit. It just chews it up. Now this was full, and it's still at, you know, 221,000. crystal flux. So this will run for quite a while. I ran it out completely and then used the battery on top of it, and I didn't have enough inventory room even with this diamond backpack. I didn't have the space even after I consolidated it. So you can do some serious mining with this. And it does work really, really slick. Like I said, I didn't think it was going to. I was wrong. Definitely wrong about it. So Definitely something to keep in mind. I think the 3x3 mining is probably the best way to actually see what the hell is out there. But yeah, works really well. It's quick. There are speed upgrades. Let's take a look at those quick. So there's drill speed augments up to level 3. There's a silk touch, and then these fortune. So augment 2 gives fortune 3. There's your regular mining, and then this block placing augment is there too. So it's definitely not the drill I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be something, I guess, less intuitive is the word for it. But it's actually pretty handy. So I know this is kind of late into the episodes here, but it actually works pretty slick. So keep that in mind. Let's take a look at our EFAB setup. So what I did here is I ended up with a boiler and then this steam engine. So this is part of this guy. Whoops. Right here. So these two have to be completed in order to unlock this Monty Python's Flying Circuit in order to access the rest of this shit further out. But this required a boiler and a steam engine, and the reward here was a magma block. So the way this works is you create the boiler, but it goes on top of a heat source. So what I did is I stuck that magma block underneath there, and it just kind of does its business. You don't have to do anything with it, but it's there, so you actually keep this, I'm using an advanced tank here for water, but you keep water filled in here, and then every operation, we can, it's recipe specific, so for every operation it uses so much water, and that's just how it works. Steam engine speeds that shit up. So you can see here I've been putting some iron in here for a little bit of a refined iron ingot, which is required later on. So yeah, EFAB setup's a little more complicated. Once we add RF, then it gets a little more complicated still. Let's see, the other thing to kind of get into this next tier, is the electronic circuit, and that's done over here. It's done through empowering, so let's take a look at that. So you can do this in the EFAB once you've upgraded that, but that's not available till later on. I think that's kind of difficult to get to, so it can be done through empowering. Now the reason that this better questing has been saying, oh, you need a bunch of latex, that's for silicone, and that's done in the EFAB. So this isn't all that complicated to make this electronic circuit for refined iron plates. It's not. The most expensive part here, I think, is the silicone. And let's take a look. So all that latex in here, I just threw it in a tank. But once you put sand in there, you have access to that recipe. And do I have any? I think I do. I'll make one here. Insufficient water to make steam. Let's grab a bucket of that. In you go. So, not really all that complicated. Liquid latex, that's pretty much it. It just does its business. And when it's all done, that's it. So, not real complicated. I was going to move this setup out further that way, but decided not to. I'm just going to leave it here until I actually need to do that. But right now I'm not going to worry about it. So, the one other thing that I wanted to go over for this episode, this is going to be a short one, is that you've got some options here. You've got some options to start on these new machines. I think this is the thermal expansion stuff. But my first one here was, since I already have the crusher going, and I'm going to use that for a while, I wanted something that we could smelt with RF. So I went this microwave route and picked up this electric furnace. And this thing is actually pretty sweet. It is power hungry, but it does a pretty damn good job. And it's compact. So this setup here, as you can see, I kind of modified this a little bit. All these random ass ores and stuff are going in here. And once that happens, they're output here, and then they go into the electric furnace and automatically come out the other side. So I've got some stuff here I needed to move, but all these, this all should have been smelted. I didn't do that. Like I said, I had stuff I needed to move, but let's kind of, I can demo this a little bit. So this thing's got a pretty decent charge. Do note that if you cannot fully smelt whatever ore you have in here, you lose complete power here. Whatever progress was there is gone. It'll just restart. So it effectively turns into a sink, and I guess effectively is not the word. It's unfortunately it turns into a sink. So you're just going to constantly keep draining power, so you do have to keep an eye on this. Depending on what your draw is on your other machines, you might have to upgrade your power. I didn't. I just kind of keep an eye on it. So, but I can demo this quick. Let's take a look at this. Let's move towards the UI. So there's some space for some upgrades here. I'm not going to worry about that yet because I can't fully power the machine the way I want to. But there's this is your input and this is your output, and you can set those. So I'm pulling in from the right. So auto input, it just pulls whatever in from that inventory. And then the output, I've got the output set to the chest on the left. And that's auto output. So as soon as something shows up, it punches it out there. So let's run this quick just for shits. Let's throw this copper in here. Let that thing do its business. So that's chopping up, doing its thing. It almost instantly pulls it out of the machine, and here it is. It's already smelting this, and out onto the other side. So this is a very, very basic automation. It works pretty well. It goes pretty fast. There are definitely some upgrades for this. Let's take a look at this. So the electric furnace, and this is Tech Reborn. Not very complicated to make. It's literally an iron furnace, which I completely bypassed. I didn't use it. So that first electronic circuit you made, I turned it into this. It's really not all that complicated to make. This is the most expensive part, this electronic circuit. So this could have been probably done a long time ago, but I think getting the crusher up and running and doing that kind of stuff, I guess it was more worth it that way. Once you get into these smaller machines, I think they complement each other. I think the crusher has some uses that maybe the pulverizer doesn't have. So that's something we're going to have to experiment with and find out. But this basic setup right here, this works pretty well for whatever you're going to do. Double zero error production, that's just what it does. So, but anyway, that's kind of the setup that I'm rocking right now. Note the multiple wires hanging off of here to get that set up, and it works pretty well. So looks like this guy is all done. And let's put this back in here, and it's automatically going to charge that drill back up. That's all good to go, and we're ready to get back out down into the mine shaft and pull some more shit out. So pick up the drill. It works relatively well with that first augment. Like I said, it is a little bit expensive, but it's worth it in my mind. You can pick out a serious shit ton of material in not a lot of time. So, all right, I think that's it for this episode. We'll catch you next time.